Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Michael Miscoe, and I apologize. We're having some video problems today, so unfortunately, you're only going to have my voice. Unfortunately, you won't have to look at my ugly mug. In any event, our topic for today is another post-payment risk topic, and based on what I'm seeing coming across my desk, and I've seen an increased focus lately on concerns by insurance payers relative to separate reporting of massage and manual therapy. And we'll go through a number of issues in the short time that we have, just to put you on alert so that you, to the extent that you're involved in massage therapy or manual therapy in addition to manipulation, you can look at your billing and reporting patterns to see if you maybe need to make some corrections. Across the country, even in places where you don't normally see post-payment review, payers are looking very hard at massage therapy billing, and they identify practices that they want to audit a number of ways. First of all, they look at three codes: 97124, which is the massage code; 97140, which is manual therapy; and 97112, which is neuromuscular re-education of movement, balance, coordination, kinesthetic sense, posture, and proprioception for sitting and standing activities. All of those are 15-minute codes, in which case they can be billed in multiple units. So they're looking for any of those codes, usually in either 2 or 4 units. I've done cases where there were as many as 6 units. And then when they, when they identify somebody, then they go to the practice website. They want to see who's employed by the practice. They conduct patient interviews. But what they're looking for is performance by a massage therapist. Now, in many states, massage therapists are actual licensed non-physician practitioners, and that's totally fine. It's not a question of whether they can legally perform massage. There is a question, however, whether they can legally perform manual therapy or neuromuscular re-ed. So if you're billing the services of massage therapist under manual therapy or the 97112 code, understand that now you're strictly relying on delegation to pull that off. Now, however a massage therapist performs a service, most likely the service has to be billed under the licensed chiropractor in order to get paid. And that brings up an issue of delegation and what the requirements for a proper delegation are. And then once you get past the legal requirements under the licensure regulations, then you have to get to the payer requirements as to whether they will pay for a delegated service, and if so, under what circumstances. So the most common scenario is they identify this aberrant billing pattern. They look at the practice website. They see that the practice employs 5 to 27 massage therapists, whatever. And they begin to develop 2 concerns. 1, the delegation issue. 2, medical necessity. If the coding is 97124, usually there's a 59 modifier that's applied to get that paid separately from manipulation. And when these cases arise, the docs consistently tell me, Mike, we checked, we verified benefits, the payer said that massage was covered. And I said, it is. But to be covered, looking at some of the payer policies, it has to be personally performed by the licensed chiropractor. And I don't know too many licensed docs that are going to sit there and do an hour of manual therapy personally, although I have seen cases where that has occurred. And where that doesn't happen and you're using licensed massage therapists, then the question comes down to whether the service was properly delegated. And for a delegation to be proper, you need to have a clear physician order that details all the cognitive aspects of the service. And what I mean is you have to detail the specific structures to receive the therapy. You have to describe the specific technique and the amount of time that you want that therapist to work on that patient or on those structures, basically leaving nothing for them to do but the actual performance element. And where delegation is permitted under your licensure rules to another licensed person, and it is permitted under the payer rules, then the only two remaining issues that we have to settle when we're dealing with massage is one, can we bill it separately from manipulation? Does the carrier consider it a bundled code? And so when you're reporting a 59 modifier, you're maybe bypassing the payer's edits and getting it paid. But in post-payment review, they're going to look to whether that use of your 59 modifier was justified. And the secondary issue is beyond the bundling, is the service medically necessary? So in the context of the order, what condition are you treating with massage that you're not maybe treating with another therapeutic service at the encounter? Is there duplicative effect? Does it look like a comfort massage? You know, I call it the head, shoulders, knees, and toes massage, as opposed to a true therapeutic massage where you're working on specific muscles to obtain a specific therapeutic result that will have some functional benefit to the patient. Some of the biggest problems that jam us up in defending the delegation issue is you allow your massage therapist to take soap notes. That's death on a stick. If you're doing that, stop. Because if it's evident that the massage therapist is doing the subjective, objective assessment and plan, then they're in control of the therapy. They're making the decisions of what to do, how to do it. You, as a licensed chiropractor, have simply referred the patient to them, which means it needs to be billed under them. And if you build it under you to get it paid, in the worst possible context, a payer could consider that a provider misidentification fraud issue. In the best possible light, they'll say that the delegation was improper and just want to recoup the money. The unbundling issues, those get a little quirky because the 59 modifier rules are really complex. I won't go into those because it would take me an hour and a half to explain it. And I'm pretty sure the good folks at ChiroSecure would cut me off. The coding issues, when you have massage therapists billing or doing services that you're reporting as manual therapy or neuromuscular re-ed, raise licensure questions, because then now we have to look at the licensure rules, the scope of practice of the massage therapist, and make sure that those services are within their scope of practice. And also we have to look at the PT scope of practice to make sure that they're not performing unauthorized physical therapy services. So those get a little complex. So if you're doing massage, coded as massage, I would recommend that you keep your units down to one, maybe two if you have multiple areas and a number of muscles. But fundamentally, probably for the last decade, I've never seen practices that do a lot of massage. I've never seen that turn out well. I just recently concluded a case with over $600,000 worth of liability. We settled it on favorable terms, not because we had good substantive arguments to defend the care, but because the doc just simply didn't have the money to repay it all. And we worked out a settlement where it gave the carrier something, rather than if they would have pushed for all of it, they would have ended up getting nothing because the practice would have gone bankrupt. I'm seeing this all over the country. Even carriers that don't normally jump into the post-payment realm. Anthem is doing a big push right now. A number of other blues payers. I've seen Aetna dive into this issue periodically when they see their massage therapy services and payments spiking, or they see patterns, like I said, 2, 4, 6 units of massage being billed in addition to manipulation and potentially other therapies. You know, the value of massage as a procedure, especially when you're billing multiple units, drives the per service reimbursement value up substantially. And for that reason, you trip a number of other post-payment audit flags when they do data analysis. You know, your dollars per visit is too high in comparison to your peers. The number of units of service is too high in comparison to your peers. When you're billing all of these services out under you trip what are called impossible day flags, where it looks like you're billing more service in a day than you could possibly perform. That's what alerts them to the fact that you have to be using staff, or you're billing for services that weren't performed. In either case, you know, it creates an issue for them to look into, because they're fairly certain in those cases that they can get a monetary refund. And let's face it, carriers do post-payment review. because it's profitable. If they weren't making money off of it, they wouldn't do it. With massage and manual therapies, especially, even neuromuscular rehab, because that is commonly miscoded as massage, you need to be very cautious about how you do it. If you want to limit your post-payment risk, my advice, like I said, for the last 10 years has been to do your massage as a cash service at the patient's request. If they want massage, they can get massage. If they don't want massage, then they don't get massage. Your other option, because most payers consider it to bundle into the manipulation, in theory, you could provide a brief 10 to 15 minute massage as a bundled component of your manipulation and not bill for it. But, understand that diminishes your reimbursement and your profitability associated with the encounter, because you're going to pay this massage therapist for a service that you're not going to get reimbursed for. Understand that this is an easy issue for payers, and unfortunately, on our side, on the defense side, we don't have a lot of great arguments to defend massage, especially when it gets past 15 minutes. At 30 minutes, it gets questionable as to whether we can justify performance of massage on all the structures for the amount of time. I mean, let's face it, you got to get at least 23 to build 2 units. And one of the other issues is you're going to chew up 2 units of massage. You got a unit of service in your manipulation. Once you go past 3-4 units in an encounter, that's when you start opening yourself up to post-payment analysis as a result of data validation audits. Basically, carriers plug big data, billing data into a computer, and they run a variety of analyses to identify outliers. And if you're an outlier, you're going to get a record request. So be very cautious, most certainly, especially where you participate. And if you do get such a record request, get help early, because proper preparation of your records, understanding what the scope of the audit is early, understanding if you even have to submit the records at all, can help us manage the post-payment process and therefore mitigate the potential effect. One last point about massage and manual therapy. We talked about delegation, but some payers have taken that beyond the massage and manual therapy stuff into therapeutic procedures, like therapeutic exercises, therapeutic activities. Some have even gone so far as to address delegation for therapeutic modalities, like electric stim, mechanical traction, and so forth. So as you analyze your risk, the first thing you need to do is make sure that you have clear licensure authority to delegate a service to either a licensed or an unlicensed person. Second step is, assuming you have that authority, then you got to get into your payer medical policies and validate that they clearly permit services to be billed under the physician that were performed by another person, licensed or unlicensed. Assuming you've gotten that far, the next thing you have to do is get into your documentation and be sure that you're writing clear and detailed therapeutic orders, so the massage therapist or chiropractic assistant or whoever is doing this service for you that will be billed under your name has no decision-making capability whatsoever. If you follow that advice, you'll be eminently more defensible. But if you really like to avoid the issue at all, and you want to continue to use massage therapists, my recommendation is provide that as a cash service. If you want to bill for it, understanding you'll have some post-payment risk, but if you follow those 3 steps that I gave you, you can mitigate that risk. Finally, as a 4th step, make sure that you're clearly delineating what condition you're treating with massage, separate and distinct from conditions that you're treating with other therapies. Follow that advice, and you can mitigate your post-payment risk. Be sure to join us next Tuesday for another awesome ChiroSecure presentation, and I'll see you next month.